Hi, my name is Shane. I use she and her pronouns, and we are here to play the Yellow King role playing game. One thing that I would like to tell you this week is that the other day I made a pineapple upside down cake, an old favorite of mine. And I know that some people like to make it with kind of very neat rings of pineapple, but I like to make it by chopping it into sort of smaller odd sized chunks so that you can like cover the whole surface of the cake. When I looked down at the finished cake at what I'd done, I realized that I had perfectly recreated the scalloped and tattered rags of the robe of the Yellow King, just slowly intruding on our reality.
So you're doing Eldritch baking now?
Yes.
Eldritch Baking cookbook coming to Kickstarter March next year. The
Is this a bit?
No,
not
no.
really a cookbook.
It sounds like a good seed for a BBC show, though.
The Great Britain Bay Bake Off would probably have to think about that. But
No, honestly, I thought Shane was
Oh,
starting out.
it's instead of come dine with me, it could be come die with me.
and Matthew, I really doubt this is a bit because Shane is going about putting the Yellow King in just about everything.
Yes.
So why not put the Yellow King in food too?
Right. Yeah. Little
Why
dash
not?
of Yellow King, it makes everything better, or at
It's not
least
that
more
I'm putting-
surreal.
It's not that I'm putting the Yellow King everywhere. The Yellow King just continues to manifest all around me. It's getting a little disturbing.
I feel like we need to start a channel now in the Slack that's just like us, like demonstrating signs of the Yellow King. Like, oh, here's a sandwich. The mustard is in the shape of the sign.
I feel like that might be a self-fulfilling kind of activity.
Anyway, the Yellow King role-playing game is by Robin D. Laws from Pelgrane Press. This session, the series was organised as part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar. If you're not familiar, the Gauntlet is a online community that organises and plays and discusses a whole lot of role-playing games. So there's a Slack, there's a Twitter, there's Patreon, all kinds of good things. If you're interested in finding out more about the Gauntlet or coming to play with us, check out gauntlet-rpg.com. It's about a month now from the next Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend. So if you're watching this around the time that it's recorded, that's a great opportunity. Lots of short games that you can join for free to try out the Gauntlet style. That's all that I want to say by way of introduction. So I'll just go around the players and ask them to introduce themselves and their characters. So just like normal, your name and pronouns, anything you want to tell us about yourself, baking wise or otherwise, and tell us a bit about your character as well. Brandon, can I get you to go first too?
Absolutely. I am Brandon, and my character today is Marissa Taylor, barista, liberal arts major, who has been in one dead-end job after another, and who has had disturbing dreams, first of a Crystal Ballroom where she was paralyzed, and then subsequently a very bizarre and extended nightmare about being a secret agent in the aftermath of a cataclysmic rebellion against a dictator of America who's heavily involved in strange occult forces that infected people like a mimetic virus. Right now she is recovering from having seen somebody be shot right before her eyes and trying to save his life and failing, simply covering herself with his blood.
Thank you. Nicholas.
I'm Nicholas. I am the creator of award-winning garlic pineapple upside down cake. So went to a chili bake-off and won first place for desserts with a pineapple garlic upside down cake, which in North Idaho means you get a 4-foot tall Santa statue that no one wants to keep a hold of for a year, and also a small bundle of what is that? Not razor wire, just the pointy one, not the razory one.
Barbed wire.
Barbed wire.
Barbed wire, that's the one.
That's to keep away the hordes that want to steal your recipe.
And I am playing Johnny, who is an aspiring marketing professional who was on a campaign that got shut down by the FBI due to some sort of mysterious death cult thing that was happening because of that online marketing campaign.
Cool. Matthew?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just very rattled by the garlic pineapple upside down cake.
You're going to have to share the recipe.
Yeah.
I'll post it, yeah.
That should be in the show notes. Put it down in a doobly-doo of the YouTube. Anyway, today I am playing Daigo Karangal. Daigo Karangal. He is a technical writer for a major, copy furnishing corporation. Copy, not coffee. That's someone else in the crew. And he is definitely rattled by what transpired in past session, and keen to understand the things that draws us all together.
Cool, thank you. And Puckett?
Hi there, I am Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. I am baffled by the description of garlic pineapple upside down cake. It is something that I would not mind trying, but I would not actually try to make it myself because I am a terrible baker. I am easily the worst baker on the planet. If you don't take my word for it, I will make you a batch of scones at some point, and you will wish you had just agreed with me. Tonight I'm playing Marie Lancaster. She is a security consultant who gets called in largely for corporate clients, sometimes for personal clients, to assess security systems and make sure protocols are sufficient for protecting the asset or assets or the premises and whatnot. She had gone to see Gene Wilde at this lecture because he had been popping up on some forums that she tracks that tend to create or yield a wide variety of threats that she needs to be at least aware of, and in some cases take seriously. So this just kind of proves that point, because she went there because people have been talking about it, and lo and behold, he is shot dead in front of her.
All right, thanks everyone. So before we start, just to mention, we are using a set of safety tools, so if you need to reacquaint yourself with the lines and veils, they're in the safety tab in the character keeper. We're also using the X card and the open door. And I think we pretty much recapped where the story's at over the 4 different character intros, but we are in the final setting for the Yellow King role-playing game, which is, more or less the actual world of the present, howsoever supernaturally distorted. The group were attending a public lecture by Gene Wilde when he was fatally shot by his wife, who was screaming that it's not him at the time. She was taken into custody, and you all gave statements to police. I would like us to pick up a couple days after that. So you've had some time to compose yourself, but there have been further strange events over the last few days. Excuse me. And so the 4 of you have gathered at a cafe to try and figure out what's going on, whether you need to be concerned. The main odd events that you've all noticed. One is that you've received several follow-up phone calls from Detective Goodwin, who is the detective assigned to the case. There's something odd about the questions that he's asking. They don't seem to you like routine follow-up questions. I think Marie is the character who has the cop talk ability, and you're extremely clear that there is something up. Like, these are not at all routine follow-up inquiries. In particular, he has asked several times whether you're sure that Mr. Wilde was dead. which you are. There's no doubt about that. And he's asked some odd questions about masks, whether Mr. Wilde had a mask, whether you had a mask, whether there were any masked figures at the lecture. And of course, there were not. You had not seen any sign of a mask, so that struck you as a bit odd as well. The other strange thing is that you've all noticed that you've been added to a Facebook group called Entanglements. You were added right about the time of the shooting, and as best as you can tell, it's a group made up entirely of people who were in the audience at the lecture. If you've tried to remove yourself from the group, you have not succeeded. Facebook tech support have been singularly unhelpful in that respect. Mostly the content has just been the people in the group asking why they're in the group and why they can't leave the group and what the group is for. It seems like some sort of marketing thing, maybe connected to the lecture series. But then this morning, an anonymous account posted a quite disturbing video in the group chat showing a vicious, fatal machete attack somewhere in New York. No clarity as to why this was posted, what it has to do with anything. And then a lot of comments saying that it should be removed and flagging it for moderation and things like that. So that's what has brought you all together for a coffee this afternoon. And you're obviously welcome to decide how you want to proceed, but I just wanted to flag some options and some leads that are open to you. You could try talking to the lecture organizer. She is pretty accessible. Marie, with your cop talk, you could probably arrange to speak to the shooter, even though she's in custody at the moment. Wilde's body presumably is still at the morgue, so you could go investigate there. Or if one of you has computers, I think one of you does as an investigative ability, you could probably, Daigo could probably just find Wilde's address and go see if he has anything at his place or something like that. Or otherwise sort of dig into his digital profile. So, you have gathered for a coffee, you've talked over these things, you've found out that you've all experienced very similar things over those last few days. What do you do? Well, can I start by asking, how's Marissa feeling now that a couple of days has gone by?
She was numb for about a day and has since gotten back to herself, although the shooting has inserted itself into her nightmares, from which tend to cycle. Every evening would be the same thing repeated over again with minor variations. So she looks a little haggard because she's not slept well any of the past couple of nights. But she's active, she's up and around.
How's Johnny recovered from the shooting?
Yeah, so the day of the shooting, Johnny was pretty much in shock and just went home in a daze. And I think if it's a couple days later, he's started to come back out of that, but also disheveled. That was intense. And not very happy about this Facebook posting that has the machete attack. That kind of rattled him as well.
Daigo, how are you doing? Are you muted? Matthew?
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Daigo doesn't really have nightmares, but he can't sleep because he's turning the events over and over in his head, and so what happens is he ends up spending late nights doom scrolling and maybe playing video games, if that will get his mind off of like not just what happened, but the signs that are like really, growing all around him, that things are not as they should be.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that if you've been doing that sort of thing, you've probably reached a point where you've noticed quite a lot of reports of random violent crime in the city. And it's, I think it has that feeling when you've been like online a lot, when you can't tell if you're really observing a pattern that's, like if there is an increase or if you're just like noticing something that's always been there.
Apophenia.
Sure.
Yeah, the tendency to find patterns and or make patterns out of things that may not actually have any.
Yeah. I mean, certainly it seems like there's more video and photography of violent incidents than there normally is. Uh, and how's Marie been the last few days?
I've been in work mode because this happened in front of me. I was treating this individual. I was going to listen to this individual speak because his name kept popping up on these forums. So I am doing my job during the day. I'm going to client sites. I am assessing their security holes. I'm assessing their preparedness. And at night, I'm working on my murder board. And I am very careful to make sure that it does not look like a crazy mess of string and unrelated incidents. I'm trying to keep it very focused. I'm using magnets, photographs, what we know, and a list of questions that need to be asked. And I'm managing to get some sleep. I mean, it was absolutely unnerving to see someone shot in front of me, but I can sleep. I've been exposed to this stuff for a while. Not necessarily directly in front of me, but I've been around incidents similar to this.
Mhm.
But the thing that really kind of throws me off my game is that Facebook group and why we can't get out of it. Why it doesn't matter how many times we remove ourselves, we are added back. It doesn't matter if we block someone, it just happens. And what was the name of the officer who we were supposed to be? Detective Goodwin, you said?
Mhm.
Good.
The moment I see that video pop up, I call him.
He'll take your call. What will you tell him?
Detective, I know Facebook isn't your beat, but we've spoken before about our inability to get off of this group that seems to consist solely of people who were present at the auditorium that night. And there's now been a video of what looks to me to be a machete murder in New York City. And I'll send him a link to it and say, is this a murder that's been reported? Has this attack been reported yet?
You have, so you have cop talk. So he will talk to you. He's grateful for the lead. He will get their, IT related investigations department. I don't know quite what to call it, to look into the group. He says that they are aware of a machete attack that took place downtown earlier today, and they are investigating it.
Do you have any leads on it? Because it seems odd that after days of nothing appearing on this Facebook group, that, besides, I should say, people saying, why am I in this Facebook group? That would be the first actual post that wasn't people wondering why they were there.
Yeah. He tells you that they don't have any suspects so far, that as best they've been able to determine, and it's only early in the investigation, it seems to have been random and without motive.
I see.
And the attacker got away.
Well, perhaps with that video, you can actually identify the attacker.
Yes, he has a copy of the video. The police have a copy of the video. He's not quite sure how it got uploaded to Facebook, but that's something that he'll look into.
Understood. If I see anything else unusual popping up in this group, I will, of course, let you know. But if you find anything that you can share with me about that video, that may help me discover why we're in this group, why we're continually added to it, who is managing this group, who's adding us back. And it feels quite a bit like we're being harassed in the wake of a tragedy. So anything you can provide to me along those lines, provided you can share it without compromising an investigation, of course, would be very helpful.
I appreciate all your help. If cybercrimes come up with anything, I'll try and let you know.
Thank you, Detective. Have a good day.
You too.
I hang up the phone, and wait, what time is the meeting at this cafe supposed to occur?
Early afternoon.
Yeah, I think I'll just spend the rest of the morning sitting at home. I'll have to get out of sweatpants sooner or later, but I'm just going to drink coffee and stare at the murder board and see if anything comes to me.
All right. So, you continue to shuffle around your magnets and things like that. Sorry, Brandon, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I'd like to go. I'd like to send an email to the organizer of the talk and see if she'll talk on the phone at least.
Yeah, so I think you send the email. You don't get a reply before it's time to meet for coffee.
Okay. I don't have anything. I don't have her phone address. Just an email.
Sure. Yeah, so I think you probably get it. Like, I'm just trying to get the characters together. So I think you get a response to your email with her phone number just shortly before you meet the others for coffee. She'd be happy to talk to you. Her name is Dana Ducasse.
Mr. Cass, my name is Marissa Taylor, and I was at the lecture the other night.
Yeah.
And I'm really sorry.
What are you sorry for?
Well, it must have been a terrible thing for you to have an invited speaker be killed.
Yeah, it was obviously a terrible tragedy for us all. Yeah, I'm sorry that you had to see that.
I was I was so interested in what he had to say, and he barely started to speak at all. I'm trying to make sense of this, and I'm wondering if you can help me understand what did he say anything to you beforehand, or about what he was going to talk about, or about anything unusual that had happened to him? Even the merest thing would help me sort this out.
So she starts to respond with what sounds almost like a disclaimer that she's giving out on legal advice. She says that she will shortly be circulating contact, to everyone who registered for the lecture, some contact information for counselors who might be able to support you if you're having a hard time with what you've seen, support services, things like that. But then she eventually, starts to actually answer your question. And she says that he did, and she doesn't really know what he was going to talk about, but she definitely noticed that he seemed weird, like much different than the last time she'd met him when he arrived for the lecture yesterday or 2 days ago.
Oh, weird how? What did he say, or what did he do?
We get lots of weird types for these lectures. They're kind of on the on the edges of what's considered a conspiracy theory and things like that. So I'm used to weird people, but the previous time that I met him, he seemed perfectly social, friendly, a bit weird, but within the normal bounds. This time, just distant, sort of vacant, almost like he wasn't really there. And then, as we talked, he called me an adjacent. Uh, I didn't know what he meant by that, but then he seemed to soften, uh, became more friendly towards me. He said something about his next book would explain everything. Obviously, at this point, we won't be getting that next book, I suppose.
Did he say anything to you that contradicted something you knew about him, or did he have trouble answering a question that he should have had the answer to?
No, nothing like that.
Okay, I just remembered the only thing is it was his wife. Yes, his wife said,
Yeah.
That's not him.
Well, yeah, but I mean, obviously there was some issues in that marriage, right?
Yes, but no, I really wanted to hear him. I thought he would sort out might have helped to explain some strange nightmares that I've been having. They were the kind of thing I wanted to talk to him about after his lecture.
I'm sorry. I mean, like I say, the number for this counselor will be coming out soon. Maybe that's who you should go.
It's all right. It's all right. I understand. You don't have to. Thank you for your help. If you recall anything else about him, please give me a call or a text. It really helps to just to kind of put the pieces in place. It's the strangeness of it all that's so disturbing, not just the violence and the even insignificant little details help.
All right. Well, if I think of anything, I'll let you know.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the trouble. You're very kind.
So Johnny and Daigo, I'll ask you as well. Is there anything in particular that you did or do before the coffee meeting, Johnny?
Yeah. So Johnny is going to work and works in a marketing department and is distracting himself from the reality of the situation by using the Facebook post as like a spectacle, if you will, for him and his colleagues to be like, what is this? Who does such a thing? Why can't I get out of this? And so just a little bit of time showboating that with my colleagues.
Nice. And what about Daigo?
So in the sleepless night, between Friday and Saturday, let's see that actually what day is this taking place? Anyway, the sleepless night between the coffee meeting and before that, Daigo has started studying the architecture of where the presentation, the talk was going to be given, and he's trying to make sense of the architecture. And so what he does is he calls up the Unity engine, which is a game development engine, and starts like trying to like rebuild the geometry of that space, and he can't seem to get it to work. Can't seem to get. There's like for a hot second he thinks, oh, okay, maybe I just did it wrong. Maybe I don't understand the toolkit. He goes on Twitter and asks for solutions to simple game dev problems. but ultimately, in the end, it's an impossible space. It's an impossible space that refuses to resolve in any normal human beings. And when he arrives at the coffee shop, that's when he's got a sketchbook out, and he's just trying to like do the same thing but with pencil.
Cool. I think that maybe as part of your like process of trying to figure that out, you tried to do the same thing for your own apartment, like just so you would have a baseline of how it worked for a real space, like a space that you knew well and could measure and check. And you're having the same problem with your own apartment, and then your office, like. You've tried it with a few different spaces that you visit regularly that you should have very good grasp on the physics and the architecture of, and none of them seem to resolve in the way that that this thing says they should add up.
Yeah, for a little while, people will tell Daigo, oh, you're just doing it wrong, or you're not doing it right. But eventually, once Daigo uploads the build, like people start trying to figure out, and like, oh wait, no, you didn't do it right. I don't even know. Must be something wrong with the tools, and it just goes on. It just remains unanswered, unresolved as to why it doesn't work. Even the dev is, like programming in game development sometimes is a world of like, we must accept that this is not working, and like because of that it remains unsolved, and like that's what happens.
All right. And do you tell the others when you arrive for coffee?
Yeah, I tell I think I would tell John. Yeah.
And I have caught that. I think I cut in and out a little bit. What you tell me is that you've been trying to draw. I missed what the inspiration was for your drawing spaces.
Oh, the inspiration was just I think the same thing. So at first it was the building where the speech was had, and then the apartment and the office. So
Okay.
Just taking this problem and like taking it to pencil and paper, the good old analog way.
That's really strange, Daigo. Are you sure you've got the measurements correct?
I thought I got the measurements wrong. I figured it's probably a me problem, but I looked online. People were telling me no, it's I did get it right, and somehow it still doesn't work.
I mean, after coffee, I can help you double check your numbers. It just can't. It doesn't make sense. It's got to be just a math error.
It almost always is with these kinds of things. I hope to God it's just a math error, because it's driving me nuts, really.
Hopefully that's not literally true. Here's your coffee.
I mean, this is New
Thanks.
York. Everybody in here needs a driver someplace, sometime.
Here's for you, Marie. I put in an extra shot. I figured you might need it.
I appreciate that.
Daigo, what did you? I mean, you're part of this Facebook group as well, right? That I haven't been able to get out of this. What did you make of that? The strange direction it's taken with the violent upload, the machete attack.
Wait, what? I snoozed it 30. I snoozed
Oh,
it.
no, you gotta see this. Let me show
Oh,
you.
you did not snooze it. You found that it didn't work when you tried.
Snooze report.
I don't
Wow.
like the direction that this group is taking. It's disturbing.
It is.
Me on Twitter. Get me off this ride.
I actually spoke with Detective Goodwin this morning, and mentioned this to him. That's an actual crime that's been reported that the police are investigating. The video shouldn't be up there. He's looking into it to find out who posted it because it's his understanding that only the police have access to it. So that would suggest that whoever posted that video works inside the police department or has access to police department files. I don't know that that necessarily means they're organizing the group or that they have set things up so that we can't get out of it.
That would have to either be Facebook or a hack.
I would presume as much as I would love to presume a hack, I don't think we can dismiss Facebook's terrible coding.
Daigo, if you want to spend a push on computers, you could probably figure that out.
Sure.
All right. So you, it just takes a few minutes, fidgeting with your phone, I guess. What you find is that there's some sort of sophisticated redirection going on. The messages, the request to leave the group, the messages to Facebook support, all of them are being redirected somehow to a different destination. You can't figure out exactly where these are coming from or going to. But whoever is messaging back claiming to be Facebook help is not actually Facebook help. And the non-responsive, unhelpful messages are not coming from Facebook.
Sorry, I just saw Bucket's message.
What's so funny?
Anyway, sorry, it's all coming from a person who is not Facebook help, right? Do we have a geolocation for that one?
They're in New York.
Do we have like an exact address or something?
You spent a
Computer
push, so I
things
think that's reasonable. You have, at least an apartment building.
I'm just putting that on the table, for everybody. It's like, I know we have so many other things, so many other avenues of investigation to look at, so this doesn't really feel like a priority because it's just us being trapped in, social media, and all we have to do is like not look at it. But
somebody wants us there and wants us to be unable to get out. The police are looking into the shooting. It's been on the news. It's all over the place. This machete attack, on the other hand, hasn't been. This is new. I have a sneak, and consider that it's only a group, apparently, for people who were there that night. That, to me, suggests that this is a lead worth following.
So, what a strange name, Entanglements. It's
Is it some kind of ironic poetry?
No, it's not in any of Wilde's books.
Oh.
He was, according to Mr. Cass, who organized it, he was very strange before the lecture. Very different from last time, not at all social, at least initially. And he called her unadjacent, which he just took at the time to be some bit of conspiratorial lingo. But then he seemed to change and became more friendly and said his next book would explain everything.
Marissa, do you think we should look into these adjacents and what that means?
Whatever that's kind of a common word. I don't know what I couldn't find it anywhere. But I don't know who else to talk to except I don't know if we could talk to Mrs. Wilde. And what do you make of all these questions about masks. I've never. I mean, I've been spoken to by police detectives for crimes because periodically things happen in the coffee shop and somebody wants to come down and take a statement, but they've never had such bizarre questions. It's like, was
Maybe
Mr. Wilde wearing a mask? No, he wasn't wearing a mask. You know, did you notice anyone within the audience that had a mask on?
oh,
What?
maybe the detective is on some like pop psychology high.
That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that's just, you might just say, well, maybe, you know, that's crazy. That's
Whatever it is, it's like, you weren't wearing a mask. None of us were wearing masks. Wild wasn't wearing a mask, so maybe.
and he didn't ask once either. He's asked that question more than once. He asked me, "Are you sure? Are you sure no one around you was wearing a mask?" And it's like, I think I would have told you the first time if anybody had been wearing a mask. First time you asked that odd question, I didn't say all that to him.
It's probably some bizarre ass lead he's following on.
I don't think so.
I mean, I figured either the assailant or someone in the crowd must have said something about a mask, or he wouldn't have gone on about it.
She didn't say anything of the sort. She was right in front of us.
Well, she didn't say anything when we were there, but she's surely been questioned after that.
Well, that's true. But I'd be embarrassed to ask a question like that if I were a detective. I'd certainly be embarrassed. I certainly wouldn't ask it more than once.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It'd be like
the
saying,
second or third
"Did you
time it
notice
was-
any space aliens in the audience?" It's like, how would I have known?
Well, that means the detective either has a very good reason for asking about masks, or a very questionable detectiving style.
Everybody has a very questionable style, don't you think, Marie? I mean, those security guards were schizoid.
They seemed perfectly normal once they got out of that hall, though. There was something wrong with them in the hall. They were not schizoid when they were back at their office.
Well, that's something.
It was strange, but
I have, in the course of my work, I have interviewed people who did what they did due to mental illness. I would prefer that we not refer to them as schizoid because they were not demonstrating any sign of mental illness. They were demonstrating a profound lack of competence at their job.
well, and I'm not defending a phrase, but they were also demonstrating just extreme indifference, right? Like they
Yeah,
could care
okay.
less.
Maybe not schizoid then.
They didn't seem to care. They were
seemed
apathetic.
dissociated. Right. They seemed
Yeah.
like, oh, this is just something that happens. You know, it's like somebody saying a bicycle was stolen. You know, it's like, oh, okay, tell me about your bike that was stolen.
Marissa, could that not be like shock? Maybe they were in shock.
I'm not an expert, but it was weird.
I know I didn't feel like myself.
I don't know.
All four of your phones beep as a new notification from the entanglements group arrives.
Fuck me.
Do any of you check the notification?
I gotta check.
I do.
So you see it's a message from someone named Callie Lemaire. She is responding to the video, and she says in caps lock, apparent surprise, that it's her in the machete video. That's the exact outfit she was wearing today. Like obviously she didn't kill anyone, but she can't understand why there's someone who looks just like her in this video.
Wait, she's saying that that's the assailant? She looks like the assailant?
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's what she seems to be saying.
Daigo,
Yes.
that address.
Sorry, yes.
We need to hit that address. This is getting stranger and stranger by the moment, and I don't like strangeness.
Well,
Strangeness is unpredictable. It's difficult to prepare for strangeness.
got it, Lee.
Wait. So, is it possible that people are being, I don't know, doppelgangers or something? Is that even possible?
There's
But just-
always somebody who thinks someone looks just like someone else.
Right. But I'm just remembering what his wife, Mrs. Wilde, said. Right. That's not my husband.
Generally speaking, there's, even in cases where people think they look alike, there are sufficient differences. They focus on the similarities.
Sure.
So
Does Daigo's eyes perk up?
it
No,
is
absolutely.
highly unlikely there would be two such circumstances of nearly identical doppelgangers in the same city, both involved in violent crimes. That is statistically improbable.
So, Marie, as you say that, you sort of casting your eyes around the cafe, you notice that there's a little girl who seems to be watching your table intently. And at first you think she closely resembles your childhood friend Amy, as she was when she disappeared all those years ago.
Mhm.
But then you quickly become convinced that is Amy. That's Amy is exactly as she looked when she disappeared.
I'm going to drink some more coffee.
All right.
And I'll smile at the little girl and I'll wave. Just like, a little finger wave.
She turns away when she sees you wave and starts walking towards the back exit of the coffee shop.
Hey, no, sorry, you're not allowed to go back there. I'm going to intercept her.
All right. She's
Sorry,
just
that's
looking
just
for the
that's-
bathroom.
Yes, the bathroom's over here, sweetheart. That's back. That's in through the kitchen. Only employees are allowed there.
All right. So she turns towards the bathroom and heads the way you direct her.
So, Marissa, do you remember how I was just saying that two doppelgangers, both involved in violent crimes in the same city, is statistically improbable?
Yes.
That child is the nearly identical twin of a friend of mine when I was a child. Which is, of course, impossible.
Yes. I mean, even if she had a twin, she'd be grown up. I know.
Yep. It is. I suppose my friend could have had a child and that she might be in the city without telling me. That is possible. Children often look like their parents. But that seems unlikely.
I'd like to do something ridiculous with us four, if it's okay.
What's that?
The word bittersweet. If ever you wonder whether the other person's not who you think they are. I know this is silly. But I have
Actually, it's not that silly at all.
a weird feeling.
You're asking for a call and response security protocol.
So what? We say bitter and the other says sweet?
Just work it into a sentence.
It would be more effective if you ask them outright. and used it as a challenge.
That's fine. Yeah. You're right. How are you feeling today?
Oh yeah, I
Or
like that.
simply saying, what's the word?
Fair enough.
That is pretty straightforward.
We have it. We will know one way or another immediately whether it's one of us or, I can't believe that I'm saying this, someone who looks like one of us. But certainly, Marissa, that if that puts your mind at ease, it's absolutely something easy and simple to do. And that's the sort of security that gets done. The things that are easy to do and simple to do.
Yes. I've never been. That's not true. I don't know if you've ever had a dream that you thought was significant before, but I believe that such things do happen. And most dreams are nothing. They're nothing important. It's just your brain working out random things. Cleaning the, house cleaning. But that sometimes you have a dream that means something. And I've had one. And so I'm with you all to try and figure out what's happening.
I checked my phone. How long has it been since the little girl went into the bathroom?
A couple of minutes.
Okay, so not an unusual amount of time yet.
No.
Okay. I start a timer running on my phone, just a quick stopwatch app.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it down and keep an eye on the bathroom door.
I mean, as the conversation continues, like whatever you consider to be an unreasonable amount of time for her to have spent in there, like that amount of time elapses. She does not come out.
Marissa,
I'll go check on her.
please.
Yeah. In case she's sick or something else.
All right. So Marissa, you're pretty familiar with the public toilet in here, but you push open the door and you do not see the bathroom of the coffee shop. You see some sort of a bathroom, but it looks very old. More like something that you would see in the 1800s. The most surprising thing about the room is that Gene Wilde, who you saw shot fatally just a few days ago, is alive, apparently well, standing in the bathroom, wearing similarly old-fashioned clothes. And he looks at you and says, starts to say something, and then with some surprise says, "Well, you're not Caroline. What's your name?"
Marissa.
Marissa. Oh, have we met before, Marissa?
No. I've read your books. Mr. Wilde. I say, and I'm looking glassy-eyed in his general direction rather than right at him.
He speaks with a French accent and he says, "It's very interesting. I haven't written any books yet. I wonder what you've read exactly."
Where is this place?
It's a good question. I suppose you could say that we're in the Crystal Ballroom. Does that mean anything to you, Marissa? I see that it does.
I shrink back against the corner.
What year is this, Marissa?
It's 2021.
He looks.
But that's not the right answer, is it?
Well, I'm sure you know what year it is.
No.
Later than I expected.
Oh. Am I trapped here?
We're all trapped here. Trapped where? The world? It's a very abstract question.
Ballroom.
Not at all. Soon there'll be an inauguration, and then the ballroom will. Well, then none of us will be in the ballroom any longer. You didn't know there was to be a crowning? You've had 130 years, and you still barely know anything.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I see that.
I'm starting to cry.
All right. So I might just cut away from this scene for a minute. So all of you saw Marissa go into the bathroom. She's been gone probably longer than you expected at this point. Are you just continuing to talk, or is anyone going to...
Absolutely
Follow.
not. After she's not back in about a minute and a half, which is about the length of time that I would expect to take to check a bathroom to see if there's a young woman in it,
Mhm.
I'm heading toward the bathroom.
All right. What about Johnny and Daigo?
I'll let Marie check things out. If she's not back in 10 minutes, I'll see what's up.
Daigo?
I think the way this, I mean, unless Maria sort of like advertises his intent ahead of time, the way Daigo would approach the situation is that he too would get up, not and check in on Marissa about 5 to 10 minutes later, not realizing that Marie might do the same thing as well.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm saying at this point to Johnny, if I'm not back in 5 to 10 minutes, call Detective Goodwin
All right. Yeah, I can give him a call.
All right.
and tell him to come down.
Do you
Okay.
do you gesture on like whether I should follow you or do you want to go by yourself, Marie?
It's probably better to keep as many people out of trouble as possible. It's better to have you two here and safe.
Yeah. So basically, Daigo starts for the bathroom, but sits back now.
All right.
Johnny is like, Daigo, chill out. Give them a little time.
All right. So Marie puts her hand on the bathroom door to push it open, and that's where we'll take our first break for today. So
Wowza.
if we can come back about 1:15.
Sure.
Great. So you'll see in the chat that Puckett said there'll be a few extra minutes.
What was the detective's name?
Goodwin.
Goodwin. A brief conversation with Daigo while we're waiting. So Daigo, what do you make of this Kelly Lamar? Was that one spoofed as well?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question. What do I make of Kelly Lamar? What?
Yeah, she's the one who posted that it was her in the video.
Sorry, you
in
mean the machete video?
Yeah. So right here in this Facebook post, this last update that we got, it says, Kelly Lamar, it's me in the video. That's my outfit even. Outfit even.
I mean, well, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why anyone would, claim responsibility for something like that.
Isn't that weird?
It is weird, but we're living in weird times. Like, I don't know. Like at this point, Daigo is just like really losing his mind over the idea. Yeah, I don't want to talk. I hate talking like this, but like maybe she just wants attention. Maybe she's just lonely. Maybe she's just looking for friends in some sick, twisted, perverse way.
Yeah, that could be it. Sure.
People are crazy and confusing sometimes.
So as you see this, they also receive another notification from the group. Another video has been posted from the same account. Do you want to watch it?
Yeah, I think I'll watch it while we're waiting for Marie.
So it shows another like pretty graphic crime. Well, not as graphic, but it shows a man in a tweed jacket throwing something into a passing car through the window, and the car crashing. It looks like the people inside were pretty badly hurt. But that's all.
Daigo, this is the worst Facebook group. We got to get off of this thing.
Daigo looks around and thinks a little bit. He's like, "No, you're right. That it is the worst Facebook group." He ruminates for a hot second to think if there might be one that is worse. No, this is the worst.
So Marie, as you open the bathroom door, you see a small public toilet in a coffee shop, in a cafe, just like what you would expect to see. Marissa has collapsed against the wall in the corner. She's clearly crying or has been crying. And you don't see the little girl, who you're pretty sure didn't emerge from the bathroom.
Are there any windows in the bathroom?
I mean, there are some small like windows that like let light in, but it doesn't really look like they're made to be opened.
Okay.
Marissa, a moment ago, you're sure you were in somewhere else. Can I get you to make a composure test?
Of course.
Difficulty 6. Nice. All right. So upset, but holding it together.
I still turn. I still scramble up and almost throw myself at Marie. I go, oh my God! Thank God you're here.
What happened to the little girl? Where is she?
I don't know. She wasn't. This place wasn't here until you walked in.
Okay, Marissa.
I'm not losing my mind. I've been in this bathroom more times than I can count.
Do those windows open?
No, they. I'll show you. You can crack them open big enough to like stick your arm out, but that's as far as they go. They're meant they're only meant to open, like to ventilate after the janitor cleans up.
Right. Marissa, hold on right here. And I yell at the door, Daigo, Johnny, I need you.
All right, that's our call. And I start dialing the detective as walking.
Okay.
And if I see the phone up to your ear, I'll wave it off and say, no, don't call.
Okay. Hang up at the second ring.
Sure.
Take Marissa to a... Is this one of those coffee shops that has like just mismatched furniture? Or
Marissa, what sort of coffee shop do you think you'd work at?
I work at the kind that has like little couches. And some random pieces, a coffee table with like inlaid mosaic over here, and a nice little sort of mahogany side table thing over there with an interesting lamp, and very eclectic. It's sort of the owners populated it with the occasional antique store find. Bookshelves with random, all sorts, with really random books in them, and kind of some nooks where you could park yourself and read a book, and if you felt like it, a wingback chair or two.
Johnny, Daigo, take Marissa to a chair. Make sure no one can see her. She needs some privacy right now.
I'm not.
Marissa,
I tell you what happened.
Marissa, you need to calm down. Johnny and Daigo are going to take you to a chair. I want you to get some water in your system. I'll be right out. I just want to scan the bathroom to see if there's anything that I can see. Okay?
Come on, Marissa.
Be prepared that it's not.
I'll tell you what. I'll prop the door open, okay?
Okay.
And I will literally move... every bathroom has a trash can in it. And I will take that trash can and move it to hold the door open.
Sure.
And I'll actually look at Johnny and Daigo and say, do you think you can handle Marissa by yourself? Do you think, can the others stay here and make sure the door does not close?
I'll watch the door. Daigo?
Yeah. I'll bring Marissa over to a seat.
Remember, get her some water, not coffee. And I'll scan the bathroom, looking for any signs of torn clothes, any signs of a struggle, any weapons. The windows don't seem to have been opened, so that kind of rules that out. But do I see anything else that would be noteworthy?
Absolutely nothing. It just seems like a perfectly ordinary bathroom.
All right. I'll poke my head out and say to Johnny, and I'll actually start sliding the trash can back into the bathroom and say, okay, Johnny, I want you to do me a favor.
Yeah.
You have your phone on you?
Yeah, I got my phone.
All right. Set a timer on it for 30 seconds.
Okay, we've got a 30-second timer starting now.
Close the door. Open it when the timer's up. It
All
sounds
right.
strange, but
Clunk.
go ahead.
The door closes.
All right, and so do the two of you just stand in front of the toilet door waiting for the timer to go off?
No, I'm inside.
I think
the
I'm on
Okay.
the outside.
Yeah,
not in the
Johnny's on the
bathroom.
outside.
Yeah.
I'm on the inside. And I feel like this is a great place to see what's going on with Daigo and Marissa. Unless there's like something you want to tell me before you shift the scene.
No. Let's see how Daigo and Marissa are going. Daigo, do you ask about what Marissa saw, or are you just trying to calm her down, or what are you doing?
No, Daigo would not ask what Marissa saw. Doesn't want to force her to relive that.
It
very
was.
fresh memory.
He was there.
Who?
Wild. Well, not him, but someone who looked just like him.
It's okay. Here, and Daigo gets like grabs the pitcher and starts pouring Marissa a glass of ice water from like the counter in the coffee shop, and
And he talked about the Crystal Ballroom.
Daigo just like silent for a moment, and then goes, "I won't lie. I am curious about. Listen, you gotta calm down. You gotta.
I'm
You
not
gotta.
hallucinating. Okay.
I believe you.
I know where I am. I know who I am. I know where we are right now. I'm telling you that when I was in there, it wasn't the same room.
I believe you, Marissa.
It wasn't it wasn't like anything I'd expect either. It was like something out of, I don't know, 100 years ago, more than that. It was a bathroom, but it was ornate, and it had weird lights, and he was there, and he was dressed in like a tailcoat, like out of the 1800s, and he spoke to me.
What did he say?
I'm saying that I
make sure we're at chairs and tables so that Marissa can rest her elbows and her body. And
I'm saying I think it was a scene from a long time ago, except that he wasn't so super surprised to see me. I mean, he didn't know who I was, but the fact that I clearly wasn't from his time didn't seem to bother him any.
Like he was expecting you.
Well,
Expecting someone.
No, expecting someone, yeah, maybe, or that just the strange was normal. I think he's expecting something to happen. A coronation.
Coronation.
Yes. In the ballroom. Did I tell you about the ballroom?
No one's told me about the ballroom. I mean,
it's just a dream I had. It was just a dream. But it wasn't a dream. It was too vivid to be a dream. It was almost like I don't know, those things that people report when they're in a coma, and they wake up and they kind of remember what happened, what they could hear, but they kind of mixed it together with other weird stuff.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, or people who have died, and then come back, have been not stayed dead, been resuscitated, and they clearly knew what was going on, even if it seemed like they were unconscious, or they knew something, and they mashed that up together with stuff that's weird. That's what the dreams have been like.
And
oh my God, what's Marie doing?
Yeah, so let's cut away from this scene here. That was a good note to shift back.
I actually wanted to say sorry. I'm so sorry. I just wanted to say that Daigo um, says, "I think I know what you're talking about." When the walls of when you feel like the world is slipping away from you before you fall asleep or you fall unconscious or whatever causes you to slip away instead of falling into sleep, like the walls of reality become thinner. And that's happened to me more than once. So I thought it was just nothing. I thought it was just a manifestation of a weird dream or a bad egg roll I had that evening. And
And at that point, Marissa realizes Marie's not here, and says, "Oh my God, where's Marie? What's she doing?" And we cut away.
So, Johnny, 30 seconds have passed. Your alarm goes off. What do you do?
I open the door and stare in, expecting to see Marie just turning over garbage cans or whatever.
So, Marie, you definitely experience some disorientation during the time that passes in the bathroom. I would like you to make a difficulty 4 composure test for me.
Alrighty. Dice roller. Get that going. Just realized I hadn't actually set that up yet. So
I posted the link
the
in the chat.
difficulty
if anyone
4,
needs it.
correct?
Mhm.
How many more sessions do we have? 2 after
One.
this? We have
more
one
after
session
this.
after this.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? I'm just going to roll it flat. It's a miss.
All right. So, I'm going to get you to take a shock card if you want to find this one for yourself, called Nothing is Real.
Is that one of
So
the
it should be
minor
in the
shock cards?
drive in the where have I not?
Hazards.
Where have they gone?
The hazards? No, it's not that. Cards.
Yeah, sorry. So in the cards folder, it's in the TINN shock cards.
Oh, yeah.
TINN shock cards. Got it. Okay.
So can you tell us what that does? Or what that says?
And nothing is real. Margin on failed composure test increases by 1. Discard as difficulty as a recipient of difficulty 5 first aid success. That's what it says.
When the door closes, you don't directly perceive anything change or anything like that. But you have the feeling that a long time passes before the door opens again. You feel that you haven't experienced some of that time, that it's sort of passed around you or passed you by in some way.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you've been in a different place, somewhere dark, but you don't recall the details. But you're very shaken by that experience. It's what the card represents. You have the feeling that it's been almost years since the door closed before Johnny opens it again.
Well, you look in good health.
Do you have a flask?
Here.
And I will open it and I will take a nice long swig.
You realize it's like 10 a.m., right?
Marie.
Johnny, is either something is not right about this bathroom or something is not right in general.
That second one. Go sit down and let me tell you what I saw.
So wait, you got up from the corner of the coffee shop and came over?
I did. After Ryan and Daigo had been talking, and I realized that you hadn't joined us. And then I got up just as Johnny's opening the door.
I mean, Daigo's right behind you as well. You know.
So, Marissa, what did you see?
Before we do that,
Sit down.
Marissa, where's the out of order sign?
It's behind the bar.
Daigo,
Yeah, let
Did
me
you get
put
it?
that up. Let me put
Yeah.
that up.
That's
I
already
know.
running to get it.
It's on the shelf just to the right. That's on the back shelf just to the across from the grinder.
Daigo knows what it is. He used to work here.
Until we know more, nobody should go in there.
Let's sit down. What happened to you?
Felt like I spent a long time in there.
Like more than 30 seconds?
Significantly.
Hmm.
It's not that I'm a stopwatch, but I can count 30 seconds with a shocking degree of accuracy. It's something that I teach to people who come to a course. They need to be able to count how long they were somewhere or how long they were traveling somewhere in case they happen to get out. That was much longer than 30 seconds.
I saw him, Gene Wild. Or not really him. As I was telling Daigo, I saw his doppelganger. Or maybe him a long time ago. He was dressed in 19th century clothing. And he didn't know me, but he wasn't too surprised to see me. And he asked me what year it was, and when I told him, he went, "Oh, interesting." I didn't expect it to take that long. I asked him what, and he mentioned something about a coronation. And I asked him where we were, and he said we were in the Crystal Ballroom. And that's when I lost it. I've dreamed about that place. It's a trap. I don't know what's supposed to happen there, but when I was there in my dreams, I couldn't move. It's a huge place with mirrors on the floor and on the ceiling. Beautiful, except that it was a beautiful prison.
What happens inside that prison?
I don't know. All I could do, I could hear some of the people. I could hear people's voices that were talking about me and saying, "What are we going to do with this one?" I couldn't hear everything they were saying.
Was anyone else in that prison with you?
Not at the time. I just knew that I had to figure out how to. If I could figure out how to move, how to do something. But I asked him I told him I'd read his books. And he said he thought that was interesting because he hadn't written any yet. He was very sort of matter of fact, confident. But the place itself was a bathroom, but it was like a bathroom, I don't know, from a movie set. I think they were gas lights. and ornate water taps, and these mirrors with gilded frames.
Daigo, Johnny, you need to separate Marissa and I. One of you with one of us, and you need to challenge us for that word. Because the two of you have been here inside of each other, and Marissa and I have clearly been affected by a phenomena of some sort.
All right, Marie, step outside with me for a minute and have a cigarette.
Well, I was thinking out of character. I was thinking I'd go with Marie, actually.
Okay. Marissa, step outside with me for a minute and have a cigarette.
I don't smoke, but I'll let you have a cigarette.
Okay.
Good time to start. I hear they calm the nerves.
And Daigo sort of like, I mean, the implication was that it was just Marissa running the coffee shop today, right? There's no one else in staff.
No, there's definitely other staff here today.
I was just here pitching in for the breakfast rush.
See, Daigo will sort of like, try to nod his way through the counter and get water and coffee for Marie.
Just ask for it.
Yeah. And just so we'll be indoors while you have your cigarette break.
Can I have one of those cigarettes? Maybe I'll try it.
Yeah, here you go.
Marissa takes a shaky drag on it and then coughs.
So
I've never had a tobacco cigarette.
yeah, it's an acquired taste for sure.
It kind of makes your lips buzz, doesn't it?
Johnny's on his second cigarette asking, does it?
When you've never had one before, it does.
So, Marissa,
Yeah,
do you remember that word?
yeah. We only made it up a few minutes ago, right? Which is it's bittersweet.
Yeah, it is bittersweet.
So you both notice once you step outside, or once you've kind of passed by that confirmation, the police have set up some roadblocks not too far up the street. It looks like there's been some sort of incident. Can't quite tell what. Do you want to look into it, or do you just want to continue your conversation?
We should go look, but let me text Daigo so they know where we've gone.
All right.
Police are doing something on the street, just checking. It'd be right back.
All right. So we'll come back to that. Daigo and Marie, what happens for the two of you in the cafe?
I mean, I've already had a nice long slug of whatever was in the flask. It was liquor. That's all I care about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at this point, I'm just sipping the cup of coffee and say, Daigo, you need to challenge me. Just for that.
Like even Daigo's kind of lost about it. He's like, challenge you. What do you?
The security protocol we established. The word that Marissa said we should. Yeah, this is what I do. So, I'm used to it. I'm sorry if I use terms that may seem strange to you.
So Daigo sort of like rubs his palms together and tries to steel himself before using the words.
So, out of character, would it be possible for there have been a switch in the bathroom with any of the characters, with either me or Marissa?
I don't think that's what's happened.
Okay.
Is that?
I was curious if if for example, so I'll provide I'll say bittersweet.
I had the same thought.
Yeah. I mean, if any of you want to decide that your characters have been replaced by Carcosan duplicates, I'm certainly open to that as a direction for the game.
I mean, we can already play Among Us. So I'm totally I'm okay. I just wanted to ask,
Sure.
just in case you as the GM had
Yeah.
something along those lines.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So it's like, wait, do I need to give the wrong challenge here? So, I mean, I did miss it. It was a failure.
So definitely something happened, but that's
Yeah.
not what happened.
Okay.
You receive another notification from the Facebook group. Again, this time from a gentleman who claims that the person who threw the bleach in the previous video, which by now the group has established that's what happened, looks identical to him, and he's very scared that the police are going to come for him, and with his record they won't believe him. They won't believe that it wasn't him.
Marissa, what's with all these people that look like people?
Right.
You saw this last one, right? While we're
Yes.
approaching the police.
You
Sign.
asking me to guess? I guess. Some I think some of the reality is trying to push its way into ours.
So as you approach the police barricade, you see that there are a number of sort of like sheets laying over what appear to be bodies in an intersection. And one of the uniformed officers walks in your direction as you come over, sort of shouting out like, "Hey, you can't come this way."
I've already got my camera out. I'm filming this.
He'll put a hand up. He'll kind of come up, get right in your face, or try and cover up your phone. He says, "The hell are you doing? Put your phone away."
What happened, officer?
There's been an incident. You just need to turn around and go back the way you came.
Officer, please, I live here. I live in this area. Couldn't you tell me just the bare bones of what happened? I know you're still checking things out, please.
Listen, if you live in this area, you want to get away from here right now. We have not apprehended the assailant in this incident. This area could be very dangerous right now.
Do you know anything about them? What they look like? How they're armed? So that we can. So if we see something, we can tell you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get ready for ordering, but I can pick it up to you.
Sorry, Matthew,
It's
can you mute
9:50.
yourself? Yeah. So he says, he has a look as you say that, like there's something that he's not telling you, and he says, "Look, if you see them, you'll know. Just call 000 like you would for anything else. If you see anything dangerous, but right now you just need to go back the way you came." Do you want to spend a push on an investigative ability to try and get him to tell you more?
I was thinking about spending a push on maybe psychology to get him to tell us more. Though I myself don't know a lot about psychology, so I am imagining that you could use some sort of psychologically manipulative way of getting him to tell us more.
Yeah, so I think that let's say that psychology without the push, you can sort of tell from his demeanor, from the way that he's talking, that he's seriously disturbed by something that he knows or something that's happened here. Um, Using the push, the way that he reacted when Marissa asked about the assailant convinces you that he doesn't believe that a person has committed these crimes. There's something about the way he acts that makes you think that he's looking for something other than a person.
Okay. So I step back like 6 paces and then let Marissa know that if she steps back with me.
Yeah.
I've read people for a long time, and I know that he doesn't think he's looking for anything human. Maybe an animal, maybe something else.
No wonder he doesn't want to talk about it, especially not on camera.
Right. We should go see Marie. She might know more or have advice on this.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't think I want to get a look at those bodies anyway.
Yeah. They could be in pretty bad shape.
So you head back to the other. Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Bless you,
Devin.
Jeremy.
It's.
Sorry.
I'm wondering. I'm wondering if it's. Johnny, I'm wondering if it's mirrors. If that's significant. My dream was full of mirrors. The floor of the ballroom was all mirrors, and the ceiling was too.
Yeah, you would have seen like multiple U's in your dream. That is an interesting thought. And now we're seeing reflections of people here in the real world.
It could be. Whatever it is. We better do something.
Did you see, surely you saw your reflection in your dreams, right?
It's funny, I didn't see my own reflection at all.
Oh, weird.
But it didn't occur to me to look for it. You know how it is?
Yeah, no, it's all normal no matter how weird it is in your dreams.
The mirrors were just not quite at the right angle for me to see myself. I might have, but I presumably I reflected in lots and lots of them.
Did you see anyone in the mirrors?
No, just reflections of all of the things. The figures that were talking were in a shadowy part of the room, and I couldn't turn my head. I was lying on my back, suspended in the air, and I couldn't move a muscle. So, if I could mostly just hear them, and they were kind of back behind me and to the right. But I don't know who was talking at all. They sounded human.
Must have been vaulted ceilings or something.
Very high ceiling, like 3 stories.
Wow.
Beautiful chandeliers. Everything was gorgeous. Wood, polished metal, and rubbed wood. And everything was suffused with this kind of honey-colored light. Almost like you were in a big amber crystal. And I just knew that the entities were malevolent, and they were none too pleased that I was there.
Well, if there is anything to your dreams, and we are seeing reflections of people in the real world, and I start looking at my phone, watching that face mauling video again.
Well, your phone actually rings as you bring it up to look at it. It's an unknown caller.
Hello?
So a man's voice calls you by your surname. I don't know that Johnny has a surname that we've established, but he calls you Mr. whatever it is. He identifies himself as Agent Wallman. You spoke to Agent Wallman of the FBI a few times back when there was that weird sort of business around the marketing campaign that you had to scrap.
Mhm.
He was investigating the cult. He says that he needs you to come into the office. He needs to speak to you about some new evidence that has come to light.
Yeah, sure. I can be there shortly.
All right, that would be very good. I can expect you today.
Yeah, today.
All right. It's very important. Please come and see me as soon as you can.
Sure thing. Click.
All right.
Marissa, that was Agent Wallman, the one that was involved in that marketing campaign that they're investigating.
The FBI agent.
He needs to see me soon, so.
We better go back and touch base.
All right. After that, I think I'm going to head over and see what he's learned.
Yeah.
All right. So the two of you head back into the cafe to catch up with the others, and all four of you again hear your phones ding with another notification to the group.
Oh, fuck no.
I thought I turned notifications off.
I tried doing
Turning
that.
notifications off does not help.
Yeah, I got it.
I uninstalled Facebook from my phone, and I'm still
Yeah,
getting these
That
notices.
won't help either. Do you look at the video?
Yeah.
So the video shows you, Johnny. It shows you staging a suicide, murdering someone, and arranging things so that it appears that they have killed themselves.
I dropped my
What
phone.
the fuck is this?
Oh, Jesus.
I dropped my phone. It bounces on the floor, and I pick it back up.
So Johnny is going to make a composure test, please.
Yep.
Let's say difficulty 4.
Just checked and made sure there were no lines for that one.
Okay. So you succeed. You hold it together. But all of you have just watched, if you did watch the video, Johnny appear to kill someone. Maybe this is a good spot for us to take our next break. And we'll come back just about 10 minutes past the hour and see what happens next.
Yep.
Hey there. Good morning. Are you okay? What are you doing?
Reacting to you. Hello. Why are you going to reveal this weapon?
I'm not trying to use it, but I'm also using it as a construct to keep myself from having two weapons. And then in work, it's worth trying to see that I don't just go like that.
The voice changing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can still talk with this. You know, I might not be voice. And then there's the other voice. Sorry. I didn't mean it that way. I have mastered the art of your weirding way. It's been a while since I read Doom, but is that one where they use their voices to
Oh,
like a command word like
I've only read Dune once, and it's not
Mhm.
ingrained in me.
I think I only finished it once. And there were millions of times where I read halfway through it. Hence why the first 100 pages, I know better than anything else. And and so if you pay attention to my Dune references, they always come from the first half of the book. Who's Alistair? Wait, what? What are you talking about? I'm hanging out with Agatha in a bit and chicken stuff. Oh shit, you guys are talking about Diary this afternoon? I mean, just before lunch?
Yeah.
Okay. Me. So I put some seed. I'm sorry I had to see that. I just can't stand people with bad opinions about Bioware romance.
Oh no.
That's just a specific reference, you know.
Yeah.
And you're like the guy who gets beat up in the scene. Oh god!
Oh god, no. Oh god. Oh Bob. Is he
So-
losing it again?
Yeah, he's losing so much, I'm telling you. And do you think I was just joking for sake about getting him appointments, spending time with him? Or putting on an oil that makes it undesirable to live in this area? Like, you know what? I'm gonna start rubbing citrus in his butt.
I know, right?
That's actually
I just got back, and Matthew, just so you know, your mic's on.
Or stop a cat from licking one spot.
I don't think he has his
And-
headset on. It's been on the
Because
whole
then
time.
the question would also
Okay.
apply to putting it on your bed, putting it with an object.
Let him go now. He doesn't out of stress and you're stressing him out.
What's this? Is
You always, is that the one with the little black bit on it?
yeah.
You always ask about it.
Okay, angry. Here. You angry people deserve each other. What is it? Anyway, we've read the reasons before. What would you do? Hmm. Can you also get us a scratch and post?
Yeah, okay.
For the 7 years, for 7 years or 8 years, we had a scratch and post. We never had that problem. Not saying it has anything to do with the other, but we can isolate the
No,
problem.
he already had a bear, but yes, yeah, I've had.
The bear belly, yeah, that's the talking about the butt.
Yeah, but the bear belly, he licked away his entire belly. pretty bad.
Mhm. Eh?
Is that the Yellow King's pineapple upside down cake?
It was.
I took a moment to look at my cookbooks. I used to have this cute little cookbook that looks like a piece of garlic. Was built like a child's storybook with that cardboard front and back, and just had it looked like it was something out of the 80s or something I got at a thrift center. And that is where my pineapple upside down cake recipe came from. It's nowhere to be found. So unfortunately, I can't share the recipe.
Devastating.
It is.
Unless you were to take photographs of the pages.
If I did that before I lost it, yeah, I can't do that now.
Oh, you've lost it. I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, haven't seen it.
No.
Yeah. Well, this is unrelated, but just to let you know, when I came back to my laptop after the break, I've managed to snap my headphones in half. So they are precariously balanced on my head right now, and I'm a little worried that they're just going to suddenly fall off. So just letting you know if that happens, that's what's going on.
It's not it's not Carcosan influence necessarily.
Not necessarily, yeah.
Wow.
But it's not necessarily not Carcosan.
Well, who can say?
Maybe it'll break the chain.
Now, I wouldn't expect the Carcosan influence to make headphones break. I would expect it to make headphones transform into, a green monkey or something like that was clinging to the top of your head.
Well, please let me know if you notice anything like that on the stream.
That's great. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So you've all just seen a video which seems to show Johnny murdering someone.
And Johnny is boisterously shouting at his phone, "That's not me. That isn't me."
Johnny, shut. Be quiet. I say after getting my phone, scooping my phone back on.
What is this?
Daigo, can you tell if this is a deep fake?
Meg looks to the side and just goes.
No wonder Agent Wallman wanted to see me.
Well, if he didn't want to see you about this before, he certainly will now.
Daigo does as Marie asks, even though he's like, I don't know, this has happened often enough for him to be less doubtful about deepfakes. So is it a deepfake? Is this a case of someone just grabbing Johnny's face and just putting it over another head?
As best as you can tell from looking at it on your phone, the video appears to be authentic. You maybe extract some metadata that shows it's from like a couple of months ago, right around the time that the suicide cult was connected to the marketing campaign that Johnny worked on. But it doesn't seem to be a deep fake.
Daigo, we got to go to that address you got for this fucking channel. We got to figure out what's going on with this. This isn't real.
Let's go. Oh my God. I mean.
Yes.
All four of you?
Yes.
Do any of you have a car handy, or will you be getting an Uber, or what's the
Subway.
plan? Subway?
This is Manhattan, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, we're taking the train.
All right. So as you step outside, you notice that there's no sign of the police presence at the intersection up the road that you saw before.
Fuck me. Oh, God. Marie,
Interesting.
they were here. They were right down there. Lights flashing, million cop cars, and 3 bodies wrapped in tarps.
I presume we would have been able to see this from the cafe, correct? I mean, police cars, lights flashing, that sort of thing.
I mean, maybe you noticed a couple of more police cars than you would have expected going by, but the roadblocks were set up at an intersection down the street, like
Okay.
not directly visible.
It was right fucking there, not less than 10 minutes ago, and now they're all
Marissa?
gone. What? We talked to him. We didn't just see it.
Marissa,
Talk to the cop.
calm down.
I don't think I'm upset. I'm angry.
Anger will not suit you in this moment.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Things,
but,
strange things are happening. If you lose your cool, if you lose your composure, you'll be less able to react if you need to. When
Fair
you
enough.
react out of emotion, you react out of emotion. Usually that's not the best course of action.
let me just get my stuff from inside the cafe. I go in and I come right back out.
Alright. So the 4 of you take the subway across town towards the apartment building that Daigo identified. What's your plan once you arrive there? It looks like there's maybe like a dozen or so apartments in there. What are you going to do?
Johnny,
Yeah.
rather, Daigo, you're the one who found the IP address and tracked it to an actual address. Can you tell us which one of these apartments it connects to, if it's a dedicated IP address?
Yeah, I think I might be making stuff up here as a player, but what Daigo does is she looks at the apartment building and sees all like the numbers and the buzzers or whatever, and tries to figure out the logical conclusion of which IP address would most likely be registered to which apartment number.
Sure. I mean, I don't know how plausible that is in the real world, but I totally buy it. You quickly conclude that it's apartment number 6 up on the 3rd floor, and the name attached to that on the buzzers is Wild.
Wild.
Are you surprised?
Anyway, I tap on a number to point when Marie asks that question. Yeah.
There's no response.
Sorry, I didn't mean to ring the doorbell, but
Sorry.
So at this point, I'll ring the buzzer.
Okay.
I'll just pick a random apartment at this point.
yeah, that's good. Daigo waits by the door in the hopes of trying to get through the door when someone comes out.
Yeah. So after a moment, a voice, it sounds like an older man, responds to the buzzer and asks who it is.
Yeah, is this Rico? Rico? Yeah, this is DoorDash. Got your order down here?
There's no Rico here. You've got the wrong number.
Oh, is this apartment 6?
No, this isn't apartment 6. Who is this?
This is. My name's Madeline. I'm with DoorDash. I got to get this guy's order to him. He's weird about this no contact thing.
So I think he'll just sigh and he'll buzz you into the building.
And I'll yell, "Thank you!"
You
And
hear
I'll
him sort of
look over
muttering as he
and
walks, as he hangs up the phone.
And I'll just look over and say, "This is New York. Come on." You always impersonate a delivery person when you need to get into a building.
Yeah. So we shuffle in, I take it.
You head up to the 3rd floor to apartment 6.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you face a locked door.
What kind of I'm just gonna kind of rap on the door a little bit just to see if I can figure out, like, is this like a metal core door? Is it just solid wood? What kind of door are we looking at?
Yeah, I think a wooden door. There's a little peephole in it that's arranged so that you can't really see inside through it, but anyone inside could look out and see you.
Okay, I'm gonna knock on the door and yell, "Rico, DoorDash."
There's no reply.
I'm gonna knock louder. "Rico, it's the DoorDash you ordered."
There is still no reply.
Is anybody else looking out? Like, are they opening apartment doors or anything?
Not so far.
Okay. So
Okay.
in that case,
Daigo notices Marie looking to see if there's anyone. Paying attention to the noise that you're making with your loud knock knocks. And Daigo braces himself and attempts to shoulder slam the door down. He may regret this.
You want to spend a streetwise push to bust the door open?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So the door swings open. There's a loud crash. Still nobody emerging from the other apartments, but you can get inside.
Lousy neighbors.
no, is it again New York? You mind your own business.
So the apartment's quite dark inside. You can see that as the door swings open. But there is the main area that you sort of enter off the front door is a sort of lounge/office space. And you can see that there is a desktop computer that's running something sitting on the far side of the room.
At this point, I want to kind of push the door closed behind us.
And Daigo tries to get a good look at the computer.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it fair for me to be able to draw a pistol, or do you want me to roll preparedness for that?
No, I think you have a gun. That's fine.
And I'll just tell everybody, stay behind me.
All right. So all four of you have entered the apartment. The door's closed behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Marie is in front with a gun, and Daigo wants to look at the computer. Is that right?
Yeah, and Daigo fishes out from his pocket like a pair of glasses and just looks at it.
All right. So the computer, there's a password on the computer, but the thing that strikes you most is that there's something odd sticking out of one of the USB ports. It's about the size of a thumb drive or something like that, but it's made of stone, or looks to be made of stone.
Daigo does a quick check, sees if it's connected to anything that is currently running, if there's any existing operations in the laptop that require its use, and if there's none, he yanks that
I think you
motherfucker out.
can't tell that because the computer's password protected.
And
You can't tell what's running.
he yanks it out anyway.
All right, make a health test for me, please. Difficulty 4.
Yay! Whew, all right. I only have health 2. Let's go all in. Let's 1d6 plus 2. 5. Yes.
So it's burning hot to the touch. You almost hurt your hand, but I guess you sort of juggle it sufficiently, put it down on the table.
Is it still hot when it's on the table?
I think it seems like it's cooling if you give it a moment.
Yeah.
But it didn't make sense how hot it was. Something that hot should have been causing damage to the computer.
When I pulled out, does it actually end in a USB port, or is something else sticking out of it?
I mean, it's still the material appears to be stone, but it's shaped like a USB stick.
No teeth, no claws. All right, that's great.
Not that you've noticed. What do the rest of you do while Daigo is fiddling with the USB?
I try
Marie, what do you
and
do? Oh, sorry.
Turn the lights on.
yep, same.
Turn the lights on and get a look around.
All right. And Marie, what are you doing?
I'm clearing the apartment. I'm making sure there's nobody else in here with us.
All right. So the combination of those two things, Marie moving through the apartment room by room, and the others turning the lights on, Marie, you quickly come to something that's pretty striking. It is a large corkboard. You specified earlier that you were taking care not to have your murder board look like it had been made by a crazy person. Whoever made this one has not taken the same care. It is pretty unhinged looking. It includes a strange array of photographs on a yellow background, connected by pieces of string in different colours. It seems to focus on 3 sets of photographs. The most striking to you in the lower right corner is a set of photographs of the 4 of you. A couple of them look to be like printouts of Facebook profile pictures. The others look to have been taken in the street without the person knowing they were being photographed.
That's interesting. I'm assuming that
pieces of-
mine is one of the Facebook printouts.
Does Marie have a Facebook account with a profile picture?
A LinkedIn account.
Okay. So yeah, if something like that could be found, then it is.
It might also be from my website. I used the same photo for both.
Sure. Yeah, so one of those photos. The pieces of string that lead off from your photograph connect to 2 specific photos in the other corners of the board. One of them shows a woman in some sort of old-fashioned clothing. The name Ada Wharton is written next to it. And in the other corner, it connects to a photo of what looks to be someone serving in World War II with the name Jack Hardesty attached to it. There is a 4th corner of the pinboard that contains no photographs or anything. The strings there all end in sort of question marks or weird scribbles or scrawls that don't make any sense.
Scribbles that don't make any sense. Like sigils? I mean, do these look like something that is drawn? Do these look like random scrawls, or does it look like something that was written to duplicate something?
No, your impression is that it's much more like someone, like getting halfway through a thought and then crossing it out aggressively.
Okay.
What about the rest of us? Do we have lines?
So if the rest of you enter, I think Daigo is probably still out by the computer, but the rest of you, yeah, you'll all see the same thing. There are photographs of your current character that connect to the characters that you played in previous sections of the game.
I look at the label on one and I go, Caroline, he mentioned that name. The Gene Wilde that I spoke to. He was expecting her, not me. He was expecting, and he said, and I remember, he said something. He said, you haven't learned anything, have you? These people are they past lives of ours? Are they just linked to us? He was expecting Caroline, who was from his own time period, and instead he saw me. That can't be just a coincidence of names.
Daigo, do you join the others in there, or are you still fiddling with the computer? Matthew?
Here I was talking with a mute again. Yeah, no, I'll look around and see if there's do the old trick of see if someone has carelessly written their password somewhere.
Yeah, okay, so you don't find a password or anything like that, but you do find a set of keys with a tag attached to them that gives an address for a location out in the countryside. It looks like it might be to a cabin or something like that.
Mhm. Yeah. What I do is then I'll take the laptop, steal it, and for reference later, and follow Marie and Marissa and
Okay.
Johnny.
All right, so you see the same thing, that the photographs attached to the board seem to connect you in some way to these older figures.
Mhm. And they're all like what linked with red yarn and push pins.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, God. Let's see.
Daigo, what'd you learn on the computer? You found out that it's a deep fake, right?
No, it's got a password, and the guy who owns it doesn't have the decency to leave their password lying around like most other normal people in this country.
Did you all have a dream about being someone who was fighting the remnant of a horrible regime here in America that never existed?
Out of
It
character,
sounds
Shane, did we have a dream like that?
You did.
Excuse me. You've certainly had at least a daydream like that. I'm happy for you to decide if that's something that's recurred or if it was just something
Okay.
fleeting.
I'll say that I'll say don't you remember, Marissa? There was just one time you woke me up, and when you told me later that when I talked to you I was incoherent, that I was talking about something very similar to what you described.
You're talking about crashing a truck into an armored car.
Yeah, that's what you said. I said I like sorry. So like out of character, I'm basically describing that situation where you wake up your partner and like they're having sleep talk, like they're physically awake, but everything they say is nonsense, and it's describing that.
Except it wasn't nonsense. It was another of these. It was this, and I point to the question marks.
Right. I'll pull out my phone and I will take a picture of this board.
These are us somehow, or if they're not us, then they're
Marissa,
people who are linked to us.
Marissa, this is a conversation we need to have in an apartment that we have not broken into.
Yeah, I know.
Wipe everything down. If you think you touched it, wipe it down.
Just the light switches.
Daigo, you have the computer. I'll do a quick pass to see if there's anything else that looks noteworthy. Then we need to leave quickly. If you have a hood, pull it up over your head. Need to make sure that if there's any cameras nearby, we don't get spotted coming out.
You don't have to worry about my fingerprints or anything like that. And Daigo shows that he's been wearing gloves.
I actually smile at that.
All right. You don't really find anything else of note. you see the key. There's a key ring that Daigo saw earlier. There's bookshelves that are loaded with scientific and pseudoscientific books of all kinds.
Does the keyring look like it has keys for the apartment or keys to something else?
It doesn't seem to be keys to this apartment. It has an address on a tag that's attached to it.
I'll snag that.
All right.
Do you think? Are there any books here?
There's many books.
Is there anything here that looks like that has the characteristic look of a publisher's copy?
Oh, no, you don't see anything like that.
Or
you see, there's a particular shelf that has his previous books on it. He has, a half dozen or so copies of each of his earlier books.
are they unread looking?
Yes.
Yeah, so he got his copy and just stashed them on the shelf. So this is his apartment. It really is. Because anybody else who got these books would have read them. They would have at least cracked the covers. And these are pristine. He didn't have to read them. He rewrote them. But why was he doing this and how?
Again, a conversation.
Yeah, no, I understand. Okay, let's go.
Quietly as we leave.
All right. And where do you go to talk about what to do next? Is one of you going to volunteer your home?
I'll volunteer my apartment because it is probably the most secure.
Do you have like 8 deadbolts?
It's Daigo might see some of the stuff, but he wouldn't see all of the stuff. He'd see like some of the panels that control security systems, but not all of them. And if you look at the door, it doesn't look like much, but you realize that if you hit the deadbolt switch on one lock, you hear like the characteristic chunk of locks or of bolts in other places.
Mm.
And it's not just at the hinge. Like you can hear that the bolts go around the door at the top and bottom as well. This is not a door that's going to be knocked off its hinges.
Daigo, you've got some space now. You've got access to the guy's laptop. You probably have some ideas about how to hack a password or something like that. You also have the thumb drive and probably some other computers here that you could try and use it with.
Yeah. Like for real in real life, I'm no hackerman, so I don't know how I would go about it. But my 2 ideas is either to force a reset on the laptop and just be able to enter it, on a sort of default settings mode, but all
you
of
want to
the
put it in safe mode.
yeah, sort of like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And as far as the thumb drive goes, I'll actually start disconnecting a computer from the network that's in here, and I'll point out none of these have Wi-Fi access. This one's off the network, so it can't phone home.
Okay. And then are you going to try and run whatever's on the USB?
Yeah.
Okay. What's Johnny doing while this happens?
I think Johnny is very concerned that law enforcement has evidence that he did things that he did not. So I think you see him pacing a lot, bugging Daigo too much for what did you learn? What did you find? And just cannot get his eyes off of his phone, just compulsively also posting oh my God, where are these videos coming from? That looks just like me onto.
Wait a minute.
I will stop him before you do that. I'll stop you before you do that.
Also, yeah, no, the Marissa realizes your phone. Oh fuck! You've got a Faraday box or something, don't you, Marie?
Not a Faraday cage, but I do have SIM cards. Here, give it to
No,
me.
yeah, you think I'm track you with your phone?
And that's where I say a expletive and throw my phone on the ground, pick it up, and then hand it to Marie.
All
Is
right.
saying that you said an a expletive a Nicholas brand or a Johnny brand?
No, Johnny just dropped an F-bomb. I just couldn't work myself up to it at that moment.
That's fair. That's fair. I get you.
All right. So Marie's kind of securing the phones in some way. What's Marissa doing?
Marissa's thinking about all the things they'd seen, and she has intuition. Which obviously only means something if you think it does. But she's thinking, she's trying to figure out why. If something occult is coming, this having to do with this coronation or with the horrible forces that I feel like another Marissa fought against and died for, then what would be the purpose of this? And say this wild god was on their side or something. What is the purpose of this? Is it just to sow discord, or is it actually trying to transform things? And if they're trying to transform things using this bizarre artifact, what can we do about it? So I'm racking my brains. I have intuition. I have occultism.
I'm just
and
thinking about what you would put together. So I think. So I'll just leave you thinking about that for the minute, but we'll come back to it.
It's fine. She's just trying to get at some sort of handle on a thing to do besides investigate the key, whatever this country location is.
Yeah. All right. So while that's going on, Daigo, you are able to unlock the computer in some fashion. You without the USB drive attached to it, you can't really find out what that was doing or what it's connected to. Marie's going to run that on a different computer, I think, so we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Pretty much the only thing of any note that you find on the computer is a very large Word file. The Word file is called the Crystal Ballroom. It appears to be a draft of some kind of a new book that he's been working on, but it's immediately clear that it's, completely incoherent, very, very disorganized, rambling, not arranged in any meaningful fashion. And it's going to take... Sorry?
I'd argue that Daigo, given his job, is very good at speed reading and as well as isolating important information from large bodies of text. So, he's trying to make sense of it. He's without even thinking about it, he's actively trying to make sense of that text while speed reading it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let me see. So what you can put together, and I mean, I guess the other thing that helps is that it's quite repetitive. It's like he's going over the same things again and again.
I'm clearly not ready for a TED Talk.
it has some sort of theory to do with multiple universes, how they explain different kinds of paranormal experiences and things like that. Um, but he comes back again and again to a theory that he holds that some sort of godlike being has been captured or destroyed in some way, and that our universe, the reality that we live in, or that you live in, is a false reality that's been created by the death of this godlike being, and that our reality will continue to decay and fall away unless this can be corrected or restored in some way. Um, that's kind of the organizing idea that runs through everything in more or less coherent versions.
All right. I explain like what's happening to what's in the text to Johnny, Maria, and Marissa.
The crystal.
Yeah, but I couldn't find any evidence of. I couldn't find any signs of evidence manufacture, or video manufacture on the laptop.
It's because they're not manufactured. They're pulled from other realities, other reflections in the mirror.
When Marissa says that, like, Daigo puts away his glasses and looks at Johnny and says, "I think we have to consider the possibility that this video is real. This is stuff that really happened
somewhere, not here. Somewhere, some other place where Johnny was a different person, and where that thing wasn't just a weird scare, but was real."
Daigo nods along to Marie.
I'm not going to jail because of some other world Johnny.
Not if we have anything to do about it. We know you're okay, Johnny. I'm just saying the reason that these things don't look faked is that they're not. It's just they're not from this reality.
So our operating theory here is that this is an intersection of the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics.
If you want. I don't know quantum mechanics, but I know the idea that this is one reflection in a mirror, that the universe is a hall of mirrors, and that this world is one reflection of it, is a pretty old one.
Well, unfortunately, extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. So if we're going to make sure that Johnny here doesn't go to jail for framing a murder, for staging a murder to look like a suicide, then
I'm not proposing that we go to court of law. We have to find out.
I'm not either. I'm thinking about what needs to happen after this to make sure none of us go to jail.
Well,
people on that Facebook group go to jail.
I'm more concerned with what Wilde said, because he describes the Crystal Ballroom that I dreamed about. And if he's right, and this universe is starting to come apart, and these other things are leaking through, then we have to find the leak and stop it.
And as you say, that is where your intuition really strikes, and you put some things together, and you are sure that Wilde is waiting for you at the address attached to the keyring.
He's not dead. That's it. He's not dead. He wants us to come there. That address you found.
Johnny, Daigo, do either of you know how to use a gun?
Daigo says, top of my clan, Battlefield 1942.
Johnny, do you know how to use a gun?
I haven't used a gun since hunting with my dad.
Good enough.
Long time ago.
I'll go to a lockbox, pull out another sidearm, and hand it to you.
It's not a rifle, but I'm sure it works the same.
Point it, pull the trigger. Make sure you don't shoot any of us.
Wouldn't dream of it. So we go into play his game, go to meet Mr. Wild, Dr. Wild.
I think so. He may be the only one who knows what's happening. The only one who can do anything about it.
Are we sure? Are we sure this is safe? Are we sure this is right?
No.
I mean,
It could be the only
Sorry.
way.
Wait, those are two different questions. Am I sure this is right? Yes. Safe? No. No, not at all. But doing nothing is maybe even less safe.
If we do something,
Right.
we have the
gotta
chance
do
of a
this.
quick death.
And if we do nothing, sooner or later they're going to pick up Johnny. And I don't
We
want
can
that to
assume that
happen.
similar videos will begin appearing of other people.
Right.
Eventually us.
Eventually, yes.
And at that point, you notice that the computer that you were running the USB on has started to smoke.
Shit.
The screen is filled with some sort of gibberish. Whatever's running on the drive is just producing, page upon page of incomprehensible. It looks like part of it is a language of some kind, part of it is just some sort of machine code, all of it completely incomprehensible.
I'll video the screen anyway,
Mhm.
in case it's useful.
And flames start to rise from the computer.
Daigo looks around and sees if there's a fire extinguisher.
Oh yeah, there's one for electrical fires. Like basically just sitting right there.
Alright. You're able to put out the fire. The USB is still poking out of the side of the machine, seemingly undamaged. And that's where we'll finish for this week, I think.
So the USB caught fire, but it's undamaged.
Well, the whole computer was burning, but the USB is undamaged.
Okay.
It's made of stone.
I can't wait to find a USB drive that's made of flesh.
Sounds great.
Sounds great,
All right.
right?
Well, I'm gonna stop the recording here, and then we'll do a round of stars and wishes.
Yeah.